7 brutal truths you must accept after turning 60. Nobody tells you this part about aging. Not your doctor, not your children, not even your closest friends. After 60, things change in ways you don't expect. Not just physically, but emotionally, socially, spiritually. Some changes hurt, some isolate you, and some quietly rewrite who you think you are. If you feel lost, overlooked, or unsure of who you've become, this video is for you. Because once you recognize these truths, you can finally stop resisting life's changes and start truly living again. Story the 7. Brutal truths. Truth 1. You will be forgotten faster than you think. When I left the workforce, it felt like I vanished overnight. The calls stopped. The emails went silent. People moved on. At first, I thought it was just a phase. Maybe they were just busy. But then I realized I had tied my worth to being needed. I was useful because I showed up, because people counted on me. And when that stopped, I didn't know who I was anymore. But something changed when I stopped seeing it as rejection and started seeing it as freedom. Freedom to define myself without anyone else's expectations. You're not forgotten. You're just stepping into a quieter stage of life, one where your value comes from within, not inbox notifications. Truth 2. Your social circle will shrink sometimes overnight. In my 50s, I had people to call, friends to meet, weekends were full. After 60, things changed. Friends moved, some passed, priorities shifted, calls went unanswered, messages stayed unread. And suddenly, silence wasn't rare. It was normal. According to a 2020 AARP study, 1 in 3 people over 60 report chronic loneliness. But here's what that taught me: waiting for connection keeps you isolated. Reaching out creates it. Now, when I initiate, I make the call. I send the message. I drive to the coffee shop. Because connection isn't just about who remembers you. It's about choosing to remember others, too. Truth 3. Your body has its own agenda now. You wake up sore even when you didn't do anything yesterday. Your knees click. Your back protests. Sleep plays hard to get. I tried to fight it. Supplements, yoga, vitamins, walks. But I kept bumping into reality. Aging is not a problem to solve. It's a process to adapt to. I began to see my body as a lifelong companion rather than a failing machine. A Mayo Clinic study found that seniors who practice body acceptance have lower rates of anxiety and better overall health outcomes. Once I stopped blaming my body for slowing down and started listening to what it needed, we became allies again. Gentle movement, enough rest, water, forgiveness. That's how we move forward. Truth 4. You will feel deep regret, and that's okay. Turning 60 brought memories back, some sweet, some painful. Missed opportunities, words left unsaid, dreams shelved too long. Regret showed up in quiet moments over coffee, in the shower, during late-night reflections. At first, I tried to push it away, pretend I had no regrets. But I learned this regret is not a weakness, it's a mirror. It shows you how far you've come and how you want to live now. I can't rewrite the past, but I can shape the future by honoring the lessons. You can't change what was, but you can choose what comes next. And that power, that choice is everything. Truth 5. Loneliness will sneak in even if you're married. I never expected to feel lonely while sitting across from the woman I love. But I did. Because loneliness doesn't always mean being alone. It means feeling unseen. We talked, we shared space, but sometimes it felt like we were living parallel lives, not connected ones. A study by the National Institute on Aging confirms that emotional loneliness, not physical distance, most impacts health. I stopped pretending I was fine. I started opening up, sharing fears, doubts, dreams. And slowly, the space between us shrank. Real connection starts with real vulnerability, even with people who've known you forever. Truth 6. You can no longer afford to waste time. When I was 30, I thought I had forever. When I hit 60, I realized I've lived more years than I likely have left. It's not a morbid thought, it's a liberating one. Time becomes sacred, energy becomes precious. And suddenly, next year doesn't feel guaranteed. So I stopped putting things off. I called my son. I wrote that story. I cleaned out the garage. I painted something ugly and hung it anyway. Life is not measured by how much time we have, but by how much presence we give. If it matters, do it. Not later. Not someday. Now. Truth 7. Peace doesn't come from slowing down. It comes from showing up. I thought retirement meant slowing down. Fewer tasks, more rest, less stress. But slowing down didn't bring peace. It brought restlessness. I learned that peace doesn't come from doing nothing. It comes from doing the right things intentionally. I took long walks, not to count steps, but to feel grounded. I called friends not for nostalgia, but to share the present. I joined a book group. I told my story. I listened to others. Peace is not passive. It's active. It's presence. It's purpose. You don't have to be busy to be meaningful. You just have to show up. If you're over 60 and these truths echoed something inside you, know this: you are not alone. Aging isn't easy. It's layered, emotional, sometimes painful, but always honest. And in that honesty, we find freedom. Freedom to live more openly, to connect more deeply, to love more fully. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to keep showing up for yourself, for those you love, for the life still waiting to be lived. If this video helped you feel seen, I invite you to subscribe. This channel is a space for real stories, honest wisdom, and hopeful reminders that life after 60 is not the end of anything. It is the beginning of something incredibly meaningful. Let's walk this road together, with courage, with kindness, with truth.